When truth is blurred by lies and misinformation, perception becomes reality. What will you perceive your reality to be?
Liberate your fears and walk with me.
Sit down and meditate. Connect with your soul.
Be a monster and then learn how to control it.
You got to be willing to do the work.
So it really goes really deep in terms of words and etymology and what they mean. So this is why it is really hard to really crack the matrix, because there's so many levels and layers to it, Hello and welcome back to the Conscious Man 7 podcast. I am your host, Todd Cave, and today I have a really special guest for you. On the Conscious Man 7, we talk about consciousness, spirituality, the Anunnaki, and one of the areas that I want to bring focus to is money, economics, finance. And one of the things that I have seen in my time is that there's an area that a lot of people don't really understand very well, which is cryptocurrency. So I brought on a good friend of mine, Rafael Laverde, who's an expert in this field. He's really an OG. He was very instrumental in some of the talks that were being carried on in the early days of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. So I wanted to get him on to, explain to us what is cryptocurrency, why cryptocurrency, how it came about, and stuff like that. But without further ado, Rafael, welcome to the show, and I'm really happy to have you here.
Thank you for having me, Todd. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you. Awesome podcast, by the way.
Yes, thanks very much, man. So before we get into the real meat and veg, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, how you got into cryptocurrency, and also why you think cryptocurrency has had this meteoric rise, and why is it important, or why you think it's important?
Well, the main reason why I got into Bitcoin and to crypto in the early days, and I still am enthusiastically involved, is because it gives us more freedom. It gives us more options. The reason for its meteoric rise and why it will continue to grow in every aspect of our lives is because it gives us options. It's that simple. It's a technology it's a conglomeration of technology. So think of the world of technology as a kitchen with many different ingredients. Cryptocurrencies taking different ingredients and creating recipes that provide us better options in all aspects of the market, whether it be in the way that we relate with one another on the internet, in the way that we create and promulgate technology on the internet, in the way that we better the internet, and also in the way that we better finance in all aspects. So it's just a world of options. It's really what it is. Options that will continue to grow, and options that compete with each other in the open market.
Okay, that's interesting. So tell us a little bit about yourself and how you managed to get into crypto. What's your story to why you became such an enthusiast into crypto?
So I discovered Bitcoin in early 2020, 2012, 2012-ish. And I got into it because I was never a fan of banking. I was never a fan of the legacy financial system. It really, I felt revulsion towards it. So I was very much an outcast in that I did not want anything to do with it. Even the world of business, I was very entrepreneurial, but I always saw the world of business as very much filled with red tape and not many options. So it was very discouraging watching how statism really gives favoritism to some over others, and how politics and within it just creates an environment that is just nasty. I didn't really want to be a part of that world. And so in my life, I actually wanted just to work with people or with animals, just far away from it all. And what I discovered in Bitcoin through my studies of Austrian economics was that Bitcoin is very much a very human technology, in that it doesn't rely on the exterior factors that make up the financial system, but rather it's a stand-alone technology that complements and augments our human nature. So we have our human nature and who we are, and our desire to thrive, survive, and prosper is accentuated and is not violated by the nature of Bitcoin existing, where we have math combined with computer science that reaches into who we are as human beings and offers us options in how we relate to each other, in how we transact with one another, and in how we express ourselves, really. You can't have freedom if you can't move, if you don't have options in life, you don't have freedom. Bitcoin existing outside of the financial system and crypto existing outside of the financial system gives me and you, gives us many options now where I found myself at home. And so that's how I got into it. I fell in love with the technology. I still love the technology. And I feel as if it's probably one of the most beautiful things that has ever happened to humanity, to be completely honest. It's the fact
Okay.
that and I keep using this word. Today I've been using this word before talking to you. I was talking to another group of people, and during that lecture I told them the word options just kept coming back to me. It gives us options. It truly is that is truly the focal point of freedom, and really what these technologies offer us in a
Okay.
nutshell. Yeah.
So, okay, so I remember when I first was trying to get into Bitcoin, it was probably around 2013, and I found it very complicated to understand what it is. So, can you explain what is actually crypto and Bitcoin to the layman on the street? Because I have found in my journey that when I try to like talk to people about Bitcoin, they don't actually know what it is. The concept is almost like, what I mean, an alien. Like if someone were to see an actual extraterrestrial on Earth, is that alien to, excuse me, to them. So what is actually crypto? What is Bitcoin? And explain it to so that the layman on the street can understand.
I haven't had this question asked of me for many years. So thank you for this opportunity. So in a very simple way, Bitcoin is a connection of many different computers that are organized in connecting with each other via financial incentives, more specifically the financial incentive of proof of work. In the way that these computers relate to each other and the way that they send messages to one another, the architecture within it is different from anything else that we've ever seen, where one node doesn't need to carry the weight of the entire network. Other cryptocurrencies like Ethereum use the banking model, which the banking system settles every day back to zero, right? The Swift network, everything settles. At the end of the day, all of the bank accounts, they close. Everything settled. If there's any discrepancy, it's very obvious. They share a global state. So how can you have the universality that you find in a global state system that also incorporates information within the ambiance of information sharing in a world that constantly grows in data? We live in an internet, like right now we're making a podcast, right? This is going to be added into the pool of data of knowledge. How can we have a world where there's an exponential rise of data constantly? Well, we can't all share a global state. And that one of the geniuses of what Satoshi gave us was the unspent transaction model, the UTXO, unspent transaction output model, which allows for the shared the shared knowledge or data within this network called Bitcoin to be spread in a way that it fractals, where things can be called back, but you don't have to share a global state. And that is very important, because in that design, you find something that we've never seen in a decentralized fashion before, something that I think people don't give Satoshi Nakamoto credit for enough, which was that he gave us, through the UTXO model, a way to scale in parallel. Meaning that Google starts as a company and it has a couple servers. If Google grows, it just buys more servers, more to serve more people. Okay. Ethereum, using the banking model, what Ethereum did was that, since it all shares one global state, Ethereum can't just buy more servers like Google. Ethereum has to grow Ethereum, because everything is held by everyone at the same time. So they have to grow. It's like owning a nightclub. Think about how about, I like to use the analogy of a bus station. You have buses. You own buses and you get more clients. So instead of buying more buses, what Ethereum has to do is, it only has one bus. It has to send that bus to the bus shop and grow the size of that bus. And grow the size of that one bus. That's ridiculous, right? You can't scale like that. The intelligent design of Satoshi was that he said, you don't have to grow the bus like Ethereum. No, you just buy more miners, buy more miners, buy more miners. And he said that, Satoshi said he expected for the storing of data to be ever cheaper as time goes on. And we now see that terabytes are cheaper.
Yeah.
Computers are becoming cheaper. Computer science is becoming more efficient. Now we can compress data a lot more. And people are experimenting with things like zero knowledge proofs, which is a very exotic form of cryptography to compress data even more as well. So we're in we find ourselves in a world, this is very important, Todd, where Bitcoin, everyone understands Bitcoin. They say, well, it's money, it's a store of value, all these cryptocurrencies, people think of money. But I like to emphasize the aspect that now Google has a competitor. Actually, that model of Google that just bought more servers, in computer science, we now have these blockchains that Satoshi showed us how to share within one network that is efficient, scalable, fast, and ever cheaper, but at the same time that it can scale in parallel or horizontally, as they call it, that will compete with a Google. So that I think was very important. So Bitcoin has the capacity of being not just money for the world, but also a world computer. And this is something that was not really talked about in the early days of Bitcoin, because a lot of people did not understand this. But now it's widely understood that Bitcoin has the capacity of being a Turing complete computer, meaning that Bitcoin itself can be a supercomputer, where you and I participate in the Bitcoin network, and that our participation in the Bitcoin network is not just financial in nature, but that the work we put in, whether it be entrepreneurial or whatnot, can be categorized by the Bitcoin miners in the same way that they categorize Bitcoin financial transactions. They can categorize anything we value to the point that we have a swarm intelligence. And this is, in my opinion, Todd, probably one of the most important things and overlooked things in all of Bitcoin history, is that Bitcoin is a swarm intelligence that operates through a meritocracy called proof of work, and that ever aims to better itself. So no matter what happens in Bitcoin or whatever people desire, as long as people are constantly trying to figure out how to best serve one another on chain, on layer one, people will keep seeking how to best grow and expand the capacities that best serve one another within that network. So the network itself is designed for it to be something that nourishes itself from within. So we don't need the external financial world like the BlackRocks and all of these things that, you know, that are very popular now, that they want to talk about like it's a big deal that they're in Bitcoin, that they're in crypto, that there's an ETF. But in reality, what the more the deeper reality about Bitcoin is that we don't even need them. We don't need those people. We don't need that legacy infrastructure. That Bitcoin within itself has the intelligent design necessary to grow from within, fortify itself from within, and nourish itself from within. So it's more than money. It's and then people are discovering that the money aspect of Bitcoin was just the first application of many applications that are possible with Bitcoin.
Okay, so that's interesting because I I think the analogy that you made about the bus and the bus station was absolutely fantastic because through my experience with crypto, I have found that there have been times where the Ethereum network just would be acting up and
Yeah.
you just couldn't get transactions through. So that now makes so much sense as to why, because with Bitcoin, if you get more clients, you just get more buses. More buses means more miners. But with Ethereum, they're like, okay, let's make the bus itself bigger. So that means then that the bus then could become exponentially long and it could actually cause congestion on the road because you have just one big conglomerate and it would become lazy.
Right.
So that actually makes a lot of sense. And you touched on something that I think is worth highlighting. So basically for people to understand, crypto and Bitcoin is generally decentralized, which means then that there's not one central entity that can censor your money or stop you. For example, if you were to go to the bank and want to withdraw £10,000 or $10,000 or 10,000 euros, the bank can ask you, well, what do you want it for? And they can actually tell you no. So basically, because it's decentralized, then it means that you have no problems. You can send whenever or however you like. Is that so?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. And in terms of like money, like people, because Bitcoin fluctuates and stuff like that, how can people get sort of like the concept of understanding that, if you buy £100 in Bitcoin today and then tomorrow is worth 90, how do you rationalize that reality for people? Because they're always looking at the currency value. So how do you explain that reality so that people can say there's really nothing to fear in terms of crypto? Or is it just a matter of knowing when to buy or what not to buy? How do you see it?
Well, what's happened in crypto history and in Bitcoin history is that something so powerful cannot just appear into the world and not have any pushback. It is obvious there are legacy players that pretty much what you just asked me implicitly, you didn't ask me directly, but within that question of yours is like, how can this serve as money? But when you ask that question, you're really posing a reality, which is this competes with fiat. This competes with the dollar. This competes with the euro, with the franc. These entities that control the establishment, as we like to call it, do you think that they'll just sit by and allow these internet people just to come in and just take over the market and all of the sectors? Look at there was just a big deal happening in Saudi Arabia where we had the petrodollar. No longer is a dollar considered the petrodollar because they're not taking just dollars for oil in the Saudi states. So understand that Bitcoin comes into a world that is not going to accept it. People talk about Bitcoin now because we've had many wars within Bitcoin. We fought many battles within crypto and Bitcoin to a lot of us to save the technology and the fullness of the technology. And a lot of people have been more in favor of acquiescing the technology to this power structures of the world. And so there's been a dichotomy between those who wanted to protect the technology to its fullest, although it's a threat to the establishment, and those who want to acquiesce this technology and shape it into something acceptable, palatable to the power structures of this world as they are. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
There's
totally.
two forces, right? Two forces fighting each other. And what we have to realize is that that's just the inevitable outcome and what we all should expect to be the case within Bitcoin history. Now, when you use these technologies themselves, you have to understand that you're entering into a world that is in between these two, this place of tension between this world of this legacy world that does not want to lose power and a new world powered by mathematics and cryptography and proof of work that proposes a brand new option for all of humanity. And you have to realize that, of course, there's going to be tension. Of course, there's going to be pushback. And of course, there's going to be natural volatility as these technologies get adopted. So the volatile nature of Bitcoin is something that has been aided by the emergence of what we call stable coins like Tether, like USDC. Now on BTC, you have the Nakamoto dollar, which is new, Ethena on Ethereum. So you have the emergence of stable coins that allow you to enter into this space while not having to deal with the volatility of Bitcoin and of crypto itself. But overall, know that this whole world now that has tasted these options, because we live in a world that is hungry for options. People are tired of the debt-based slavery. And so once people tasted what Bitcoin's capable of, they're only going to want more of it. And the more that I show you that Bitcoin's capable of, like many of the things I've said already today may shock some people, and they're like, wow, I've never thought about Bitcoin in those ways. And maybe want to learn more about why, why I said what I said and look into it for themselves. But it causes curiosity. And when you keep learning more, you realize that these technologies offer us options in all aspects of life that really give us a more rich and fulfilling life and more freedom, more possibility of voluntary exchange. So as time goes on, the big question, Todd, is will there be a cryptocurrency that allows me to do more than what the dollar allows me to do? And the answer to that question is yes, there will be. And the reason why I say yes, there will be is because there has been. It's called Bitcoin, because these technologies in their original design and in what they could be in their fullness can offer us many more options than what Bitcoin is capable of offering us. So as of right now, if you do not want to deal with the volatility, you could use a stable coin. If you don't care for the volatility, then you can just use crypto directly. It's really up to you.
That's really interesting, because when I first got into crypto, no one actually explained it to me like that. Excuse me, in the terms of if I wanted to get away from the volatility, I could be in a stable coin, because I'm kind of like an autodidact. So I taught myself about crypto. I just spent one Sunday, about 8 hours on the internet, just binging, and I bought my first Bitcoin. And this is why I think that information like this is very valuable, because when I first got into it, it was very difficult to even get Bitcoin. I mean, it was not super difficult, but it was a little bit difficult. And even this kind of knowledge that you're sharing, it just wasn't out there, right, to help guide people. So I think that's a really good option for people, that they can go into stable coins. And what that also means is that you can go in and out of the stable coin. So you can go into Bitcoin, then to stable coin back to Bitcoin, as of when the market fluctuates. So you can actually profit in a way through that. And there's something that I wanted to say as well, that what you said about the hunger for the technology, I've seen it in my own family. So when my mother retired in 2017, I told her to take half of her pension and to put it into crypto and to precious metals. And I'll be honest with you, my mother, she knows me very well and she trusted me because she knows that I don't mess around. If I talk about some things because I've done the research. And from then to now, she's gotten back almost all of her principal. So basically, and then she still has the same principal left. So I think the numbers are like 95% she's gotten back in terms of money terms. And then she still has a little bit more than what she put in actual crypto now. So
Nice.
yeah, and when I showed her how it works, because my mom is 67, and me and my sister, we have to like put on the share screen for her to go into her Trezor for her to say for me to exchange and stuff. But the point I'm trying to make is that my mom is 67. She's very afraid of technology, but she put her foot in and she can do it. So anyone out there listening to think that you're too old or you can't get into it or it's too difficult, I assure you that my mother, in fact, all of my family are into crypto because of me. And my mother, understands how cheap it is because I have sent my mother thousands and thousands of pounds, and sometimes we paid £3 transaction fee. The most we've ever paid was £5, and that was at the height when it was like 70,000. Dollars. But
Right.
normal times 2, 3, and even now I find the transaction fees have gone down. So sometimes, like I think the last transaction we did was like £1.50, something like that, and it cleared within an hour. So what you're saying is true. I've seen it in my own family where the thirst for like that freedom, because my mother, I was originally born in Barbados, and in Barbados now, the central bank determines how much money you can send out the country per year. There's no problem with receiving, but if you want to send money out over 10,000 US dollars, you have to go to the central bank, you have to fill out a form, present ID, say why you want to do it, etc., etc. So what we did is that we did that transaction once where we got out the majority of the money, and we've just been having it in crypto and coming in and out of crypto as it goes down. We buy some more. As it goes up, we sell, and we've been recycling like that. So what I want to say to people is that crypto is a technology that can give you options, and is imperative to learn how to do it. And there's one of the reasons why I brought on Rafael today, so that people can get an understanding that it is not as foreign as trying to learn Chinese. It is not as difficult as trying to create algebraic equations. It just takes a little bit of time, and with the right person to teach you, or if you have the time to research yourself, you can actually learn. So
yeah, we offer the newsletter, the Crypto Vigilante, and we have.
Okay, tell us about that.
Yeah, the Crypto Vigilante is built for people who want to learn more about crypto, and we have 101 tutorials, and we do a monthly newsletter, and on top of that, we have a special group that is constantly on, and people are constantly asking us questions, and they're constantly learning. So it's more in a newsletter. It really is a research group. And yeah, I started that with Jeff Berwick and a bunch of other awesome people like Mr. X and Ed Bugos. And it's been a blessing not just to be part of it as a founder, but it's also been a blessing to partake in the community, because it's a place where we all come and really nourish one another. And I think groups like that, private groups like that, are just going to become ever more important as time goes by, because with the emergence of AI, and there's just going to be more and more confusion on the internet as to who to really trust, what's really going on. So I'm really happy to be offering that service. That's cryptovigilante.io. So yeah, that's really like my passion, is to teach this and to see it grow and to be part of it. And so this is all I do. I love doing this. And yeah, I'm sorry, you were going to ask me a question. Sorry, I cut you off.
That's fine. So a question, why do you think then that the governments are so afraid of crypto because we had that famous speech from Barack Obama where he said that crypto is almost like everyone walking around with a Swiss bank account in their pocket. So instead of them being afraid of it, why don't you think why don't they embrace it to basically level up how they do things? Why do you think they're so afraid of that and even just getting into it?
Well, I think that it's really more of the communist side of politics that are really scared of it, which is pretty much the vast majority of politics. And I think the rhetoric has actually changed, Todd. We see like Donald Trump talking about how he wants the United States to be pro Bitcoin, and so it's very bullish right now for Bitcoin in the United States because of Donald Trump. Donald Trump really is pushing that forward. We have other presidential entities like Javier Milei in Argentina, who is also embracing Bitcoin, Bukele in Ecuador. All over the world, you see a lot of governments actually embracing Bitcoin because they really know they can't compete against it. And they know that if they push entrepreneurship away, crypto entrepreneurship away from their country, they'll just go to somewhere else where they will accept it. And in this moment of time, I think this is a great time, for a lot of opportunity in crypto because of the rhetoric changing in politics. I think that the reason why the more socialist, communist leaning individuals don't like crypto is because they don't like competition. It's that simple. They like control over the money supply. They like control over people, and they like surveillance. And so with crypto, people move away from the control, the surveillance, and the debt-based slavery.
I see. So
Yeah.
it allows you to and just to add on that, it allows you to transact value without a third party involved.
Yeah,
So
correct. Yeah.
how would you be able to define to the man on the street what's the difference between fiat currency and cryptocurrency? Because a person on the street is going to be just thinking, well, I've got dollars, pesos, euros, yen in my pocket, but this thing, crypto, it's like, well, it's just some etheric, magical thing that exists in the ether that has no value. How do you define then for someone that has zero understanding of crypto, the difference between crypto and the money that we have today, fiat?
Well, the money that you have today, that fiat is not limited in supply. They're constantly inflating it, and it's actually hyperinflating. So the purchasing power of the dollar or of the fiat that you have in your pocket decreases over time, and so you're not incentivized to save, and that's really a problem for everyone in the economy because it's a indirect tax on you. Where I just saw recently a guy that wanted to do a reorder of groceries from 2022 on his Walmart account from his online shopping. He reordered the same amount, the same food, the same items, and it's 4 times as much in just 2 years. In 2 years,
That's a lot, man.
yeah, in food, uh, it has 4x. So that's the problem with fiat. First and foremost, is that it's money that is works against you. The more you hold fiat, the more you exchange fiat, the more that you are participating in giving yourself false information in terms of prices, in terms of what's being invested on, who's investing, because you're participating in a debt-based system where from the top down they're sending erroneous messages into the market, making people think that there are people out there investing when in reality they're just printing out more money, or they're just manipulating the money supply, like they're shrinking the money supply as it's happening now. So that's something that you don't find in crypto because the economic structure is one that is defined and there is no inflation. There is a cap on supply on the best of cryptocurrencies, or they're limited in supply, which you have when you enter into these economies. You have accurate measurements of what really is happening in the economy. There's no one manipulating and no one printing money out of thin air. Everything is open source on chain. So you can verify transactions. You can verify that there is no one group having favoritism over others, taking advantage over others. And you can also know that the more that as time goes on, the more that these technologies will grow in value in line with how much they're used. And in my opinion, crypto will only keep growing. I don't think for me, there's no such thing as a bear market. Obviously, yes, technically there are bear markets, but for me, it's an organic being that is just growing and it's just breathing. Sometimes it breathes in and it grows. Sometimes it breathes out and it breathes in and out again. And so crypto is just going to keep growing, guys. People thought I was crazy when I told them about Bitcoin at $9. It's at 70,000 plus now. You know, I think you'd be crazy not to listen to someone like me. That's what I really think.
Yeah, I found it very interesting because while I did like Bitcoin in the early days, I didn't go as hard as one of my colleagues because he was like mad on it and he basically backed up the truck. And I
Good
sort
for
of
him.
like I put one foot in, so I wasn't like all in like him. And I would say that some people just have the vision like how you did, where you saw it at $9, and he had the vision, and I think this was like when it was £650. So that was probably like $800. He had
Yeah.
the foresight, and I have only seen it rise. And yes, what I would say is that what I realized about Bitcoin is a little bit like life, where it moves in cycles and waves. And
Correct.
life works where like you have a time where you're in the ascendancy, and then there's a time where you kind of get a few knockdowns in life, you come down, and then it stops, and then you sort of like catch your breath, dust your feet off, dust your hands off, and then you level up again. And this is what I've seen in Bitcoin, where you have like these times where it has meteoric rise, then it stays there, then it crashes down, then it sort of like consolidates, where you think of a different strategy in life to do something else different, then you level up again, Bitcoin levels up, and then it stays there, so consolidates at the top, then falls down again. And I've generally seen it, like if you look at the trajectory, it's pretty much been all up with some very big corrections. And I think it's the corrections that really scares people. So why do you think then that we have this psychology where we tend to want to buy when it's high and we want to sell when it is low? Why this psychology do we have? Because it just doesn't make sense to me. But like, being that you've been in the game for so long and you understand human psychology a little bit, what do you think that this phenomenon occurs?
I honestly have given this question a lot of thought, and I think that it comes down to um, us conditioning. I think people have been conditioned to follow the masses or wait for something top down to give them an order so that they can move. So it's it's really psychological conditioning is really what it is. And from the time people, you know, if you go to school, if you're taught to like follow orders and not question authority, then you are, and if you're thought and you think in that way, most people do, unfortunately, then they can't think for themselves. And because they can't think for themselves, then they just follow what is comfortable to them, unfortunately. And they seek comfort is really what they're seeing. To be alone, away from the masses and away from what the authorities tell you it's okay, that is a very uncomfortable. So if you want to be successful in crypto, you have to, or in anything in life, really, you have to be, as a capitalist, be comfortable being alone. And so that's probably the best skill you can foster is that of thinking for yourself. So I at the Crypto Vigilante, I tell people like, look, when I started the Crypto Vigilante, I did not want it to be a place where it's an echo chamber where we all agree. I on purpose brought on Jeff Berwick and Ed Bugos they're very kind of like meta thinkers and they think big picture. But in the day-to-day grind of crypto itself, and I told you that we've had tension in Bitcoin history since day one, I brought guys in that completely disagree with me on, in my opinion, the most important topics in crypto history. And I did that on purpose because we need to have that tension. A lot of people come into the crypto vigilante and they just want to know what to buy and when to sell. That's it. But what I teach them is like, look, anytime you come in with that mindset, you're making yourself vulnerable, because the moment you are relying on someone else's mind, even though you consider their mind to be very first rate, you're putting yourself in the position of being manipulated by what you consider to be a first rate mind. And what I tell them is like, if you consider your mind to be second rate, you at least have to know this. You have to know that your second rate mind is the only mind that you can truly trust. There's no other mind that you can trust more than your own mind. So I strive to really teach people to think for themselves, and that's why I did not make it an echo chamber. I brought guys that completely disagree with me on many big issues, and I did that on purpose because I want to foster that critical thinking, that independent thinking. And one thing, Todd, that I would like to say is this: is that you can foster independent thinking so much that you can come to a fault. It could be to a fault. You can hurt yourself.
Very true.
You can be such an independent thinker, and I'm telling you from experience, you can be such an independent thinker that you can hurt yourself. How? You disregard the zeitgeist, the collective mind share of the masses, because you recognize that you're smarter than them, but you realize that even though you're smarter than them, you have to still take into account what they think and how they feel. Because if you disregard how they think and how they feel, then you're not going to be locked into the real economy. The real economy includes them. It's not just what's in your head. Even though you may have everything correct, even though you may be right about all the most important topics, their stupidity matters in the equation too. And guess what? The vast majority of people have been conditioned to think in those ways, the way you just said. They're conditioned to follow authority, to follow what the next person, to not think for themselves. So they will sell when they should be buying and buy when they should be selling. That's just their nature. And you have to be okay with that. You take into account who they are, just step away from them and let them be who they are. But don't disregard their reality, because their reality affects you whether you realize it or not.
Yeah, that's very, very important, because it's similar to how Christ said, you be in this world, but not of it. So you be in the world, so you kind of understand how people are going to react, but you're not of the world, where you're not partaking in the system to levels that you don't want to. So you're only partaking in the system in a way that you want to interact, where you come in, you do what you have to do, and then you come out. So this is where having the right mindset, because we're here at the Conscious Man 7, we're very much all about mindset, and mindset matters. And things like this and what we're doing will require a shift in mindset, because you're literally going against the grain of everything you've been taught in school. And guess what, guys? Everything you've been taught in school is a lie. The school system was only created to produce more workers and slaves.
That's right. That's right.
And this is why we suffer with critical thinking. We're not taught how to think. We're told what to think and when to think. And this is why you had the pandemic and all the shenanigans associated with it. So, I would say to people that this is time for you to have a change in mindset and listen to experts in their field. Go and try to prove them wrong. Go and research to prove everything that Rafael is saying today is wrong. And being skeptical is actually quite healthy to learn, because what it means is that the more you find, the more you discover, the more it will challenge your thoughts and belief systems. And then you have to have a conversation with yourself to think, well, is everything Rafael is saying nonsense, or is everything that I've been taught is nonsense? So you're gonna have to come to a crossroads to with that thought process.
That's
So,
right.
question: how do you think crypto can protect us from the impending economic and currency crash that's coming?
By being itself. Crypto is already here. So it's already here, and the fact that it exists, it's already protecting us. Honestly, if it wasn't for crypto right now, we probably would have already had a big crash, to be completely honest. Think about how much hope
true.
in the economy, just from a psychological level. Things like something like Bitcoin gives hope to people. Even if someone that's not invested in crypto, someone that they just hear about Bitcoin, they're hearing about Bitcoin as, okay, cool. That's an option that I may not agree with, but it's an option that's there and people are really excited about, meaning that I can expect more options like it. Or maybe I can acquiesce that technology to serve my interests in some way. It creates, that option created hope and creates an optimistic environment within the overall market. Without Bitcoin, without crypto, I think we would be in a, it's not financially speaking, not in a literal sense, but we would be more depressed towards the economy. Like the economy would be depressed psychologically. Like I think the Great Depression wasn't a real depression, to be completely honest. Like monetary, it was mostly a mental depression. That's what I really think
That's
of
interesting.
dude. I honestly think that what people are realizing more and more, Todd, and this is really the conversation I really do want to have with you is that there is a spiritual element to all of this, that money that we're really talking about. Maybe we should have a part 2 about this topic, but people are realizing more and more that there is a spiritual component to everything that regards money. Money is a spiritual thing. It's a
Absolutely.
psychological thing. If you're not a theist or a believer or anything like that, if you are more like scientific materialist, well then think of money as something that is very psychological. It's psychological in nature, because no matter what your political stance is, we all know this world is abundant with resources. If you really want to understand how abundant this world is, the existence that you have, do one thing in your life, and it doesn't take a lot. Go into your kitchen, grab anything with a seed, anything you bought at the supermarket with a little seed, plant it in soil, put it in light, in water, and watch it bloom. Start a little garden. We live in an abundant world. We really do. We've just been conditioned not to associate with it properly. And so we're dependent on things that we shouldn't really be dependent on. And so Bitcoin and crypto, what it does is that it's a window, it's an escape out of that system using technology. But you can also escape that system just by having a garden. If you are completely independent from the supermarket, if you have your own meat, your own, if you create your own dairy, if you grow your own food, it doesn't matter what happens outside of you. It doesn't matter if the supermarket closes down. If you have that at home, it doesn't matter what happens in the exterior world. So this is it's really a psychological phenomenon, really, is what I think. And I think that Bitcoin gives people hope in at the very least keep the system that they're accustomed to going. But the truth is that some people, and I think myself, I'm one of those who see what these technologies are capable of bringing us. Most people don't have that capacity of like thinking for themselves and seeing beyond what their immediate experience and conditioning has frame the world for them as not most people. They came into Bitcoin and they're like, well, it's like money. So I know money. So I'll do, oh, it's computers. I know computers. Oh, I know finance. I know accounting. It's like accounting. It's like finance. So they bring their preconceived notions into it. And there's nothing wrong with that. What I'm trying to tell you is that there are other people out there who see beyond what the experiences, beyond what our experience, beyond the experiences we bring to the table. Like there are people who see what these technologies can actually turn this world into. And that's my goal really, is to promote that, because I think everyone is capable of that. It's just that it's a muscle that no one has really exercised, because people are conditioned to go to school, get a job, and not think beyond what's been presented in front of them. So my goal is for people to hopefully start thinking bigger, and I think it's going to happen. I think it's inevitable. It's inevitable for people to come to these realizations. Like in the 1970s, people would be writing term papers in college on a typewriter,
Very
right?
true.
And walking around with heavy books, right? The world changed when you gave them a computer and you had digital files, and you didn't have to walk around with huge textbooks, but you had an internet, right? Like imagine, like, so things do change, and things can change with technology, and can change your world and make you more efficient and make your life better. So I think that that's what's going to happen with crypto. It's just that people are treating crypto at this moment, Todd, when they talk about ETFs, banking, the dollar, and they're comparing it with fiat, or they're comparing it with like the legacy world of finance. They're talking about crypto. It's kind of like the guy who still walks around with a typewriter and a laptop, and only uses his computer to scan what he wrote on the typewriter, and scan it and then sends an email. That's kind of like my analogy here. That's kind of how most people are using crypto nowadays. They're using it, but their mental framework is like the guy in the 1970s that uses a typewriter still with the internet. Doesn't make sense, but
No, it
how
doesn't.
people are still thinking. People are still thinking in terms of what they're accustomed to, what they know, but they are having they want other people to do the thinking for them, and that's what's really scary, Todd. And that's why this is spiritual,
Yeah.
because we're moving into a place where Bitcoin and proof of work empowers us and allows us to augment our human potential. Meaning, I can enter into conversation with you just if you were in front of me physically. We're doing this through this awesome, system where we're talking face to face. This was not possible 50 years ago, but we're doing it now, and this is awesome.
True.
Yeah,
So it
but
sounds.
Bitcoin
Sorry.
does the same. Bitcoin allows us to transact. You're in China, I'm over here. Bitcoin allows us to transact, do the same as if we were in person. But we have to keep that human aspect alive in crypto, and we have to grow with crypto. Otherwise, the social conditioning is only going to amplify, and people are going to have AI doing the thinking for them, doing everything for them.
Yeah, it sounds like what you're describing is that one, crypto makes you take responsibility for yourself and for your life. It also gives you the ability to check in and out of the system when you want. And it really makes you, be accountable for yourself, because with crypto, the way you've described it, which is really good, this is why I wanted to get you on. Right now, we're at crossroads in our life where we are 100% in a spiritual battle. And one of the fronts in which they're attacking us spiritually is with money. And what you said about money is, I'm going to level that up in the sense of, when you take away money from a person, or the thing that they use as money, that person is going to go mad and go crazy. And we're slow walking to the point where they're going to take away the money from us and forcibly put us in a system where they'll tell us when we can spend our money, how we can spend it. And as I like to say, they'll tell us when to be tired, basically. And what crypto does, and the way you've explained it, is that it paints a picture where we can actually take back some of the power that they have and put it in our hands.
Well, they
And we
can't
can-
do that anymore. That
Correct.
idea, that whole, if that was a plan that they ever had to take money from us, they can't do that anymore. That's the
No.
whole point.
That's the whole point.
That's the whole point, is that as an option for them is no longer on the table.
Yeah.
Like, crypto's here to stay, period.
I can't see crypto dying, to be honest, because
Yeah.
what you said, there's so many layers you can build on top of the blockchain and on crypto to do so many different things. Like,
Yeah.
basically,
You don't even need the internet. For crypto,
No.
sending crypto, you can send it through ham radio. You don't
Yeah.
need the internet.
Yeah. You can even upload podcasts on the blockchain and stuff, like, you know what I mean?
You
So
can send emails via ham radio as well.
yeah,
People have done that.
the technology
It's
is
just it
amazing.
hasn't grown. You know, sending data on ham radio hasn't grown because we haven't there has
True.
not been a need for it to grow, because we have these amazing systems, right, on the internet. But push came to shove, you damn right, people are going to start sending messages via ham radio. They can't stop ham radio.
No, they
Shortwave
can't.
radio, they can't.
No, they can't.
can't.
They can't. Because this is a real part of the spiritual battle, is really to make you think that you're less than what you really are. And this is what the conditioning has been, where, like you said, you've exported your thinking to someone else or to another entity instead of doing the thinking for yourself. And this is one of the messages and the things I'm trying to get out there to people, where if you don't believe anything that me or my guests talk about, go and research for yourself. Now, this follows on to what I want to ask you. Say I wanted to get into crypto tomorrow. I know nothing about crypto. How can I do that? What does that look like? You know, because when I first started, it was a bit challenging, because you had to download this wallet, and it was like you have the wallet on your phone. I was like, it still makes sense. So, like, if I knew nothing about crypto and I wanted to get into it after this conversation that I'm hearing today with me and you, how could I do that? What does that look like?
The number one wallet that we recommend for people that are getting started is Edge. Edge.app. Edge, like the edge of a table. Edge.app. That's it. Start there. And research it. You know, it's all open source, online. Research it. It's all there. You got to research it. If you want to learn with whom I consider the best, come join the Crypto Vigilante, cryptovigilante.io. We'd love to have you. If not, that's cool too. But just you have to learn it for yourself. Anyone that wants to that says that they're going to spoon feed you this stuff is no, you're going to have to put the work in. You're going to have to put the work in, and you're going to have to learn it. You're going to have to learn it. It takes responsibility, and it is with that responsibility that you gain the knowledge and the know-how. So at the Crypto Vigilante, we focus on we call it fundamental analysis. What is it that we're talking about? The what? What is this? What is this? Technical analysis, the when, the time, when do I buy? When do I sell? That's technical analysis. And we also we teach operational security, which is the how. How do you use these technologies? How do you do this? So all those three things we focus on. And cryptovigilante.io. That's a spot.
Okay, great. So that Edge wallet, does it have like the ability that you can buy crypto inside of it? Like awesome. Okay,
Yeah,
that's that. Oh, and you can also sell inside of the wallet as well.
I don't think it does. No.
Okay, so you would still have to send your crypto to Coinbase or Binance or what's the other one that you get for Pirate Chain? Can't remember that exchange, but
Kraken, Trade Ogre, there's many
Trade Ogre.
exchanges out
That's
there,
it.
yes.
Okay,
Yes.
all right. So basically, that sounds pretty easy, and you can find that in the Play Store and the Google Play Store as well.
Yes, correct.
I tell you something about people. When they first started, you actually had to go and get an API online and download, APK, and download the APK because they weren't inside of the app stores. There were very few. Some weren't compatible with some software, some phones, etc., etc. So the
Yeah, now
market
it's
has,
easy, man. Now it's like, that's why I'm like, when you ask me these questions, I'm like, all right, well, it's just so intuitive now. It's like using any application. If you're used to actually online banking, I learned a lot from crypto. So if you do online banking, crypto is actually easier than online banking, in my
yeah,
opinion.
yeah,
Online banking is weird. It's like, what's a
yeah.
routing number?
Yeah, because with crypto, you literally just need your address. And
Yeah.
here's what I used to tell my mother. I said, okay, so Mike, if you can send to me, you need my address, like an email address. You can't send an email without an email address. So this long number that I'm going to give you is my address. Where it says send, you put it in there. The next line is the value, the amount. You put in the amount in dollar terms, or if you know the amount in crypto you want to send, you send it. Then after that, you press send. You may get a confirmation through a 2FA, two-factor authentication. You put that 6 number in there, boom, and that's it. Send, forget, 100% certainty that it will be delivered, whether it's instantaneously or within an hour. And, there are no issues. And also what I want to say, because of the crypto vigilante, is one of the reasons why I've been able to do so well on my mother's pension, because when the guys were saying to buy and to sell, but that's what we were doing, and you get the emails and the videos. And I mean, the thing is, what I find with people is that we don't practice delayed gratification. So what will happen is that I find that in crypto, people expect that is like a get rich quick syndrome that we have, where it's like, okay, if Mr. A sell at this number, then it must happen today or tomorrow. But that number could be a few weeks or a month. But what I would say is that we hit the numbers. It's just a matter of when. So if you can detach the immediacy of buying or selling from the actual act of buying and selling, then it means then that you will actually prosper, because okay, these experts are saying, do this, I'm doing this, set and forget, and leave it. Listen to the updates, read the newsletters, learn and learn, because knowledge is power. And it's all about
that's right,
learning how to do these things. Because this is why I had to tell my mother. I said, listen, Mike, whether you like it or not, this technology is here to stay. So you're either going to learn it or you're going to complain while learning it. But the end result is you're going to learn it. There's no two ways about it, right? And she learned it. She still is a bit scared to do it by herself, but she can do it, right? So as long as we have time, then I would just do it with her, or I would just let my sister more or less do it for her. So how can we get businesses to start to, use crypto as a platform, as a means to payment? Because one of the things that people say to me is that, yeah, Todd, this crypto thing is all fine and good. I understand. Yes, you can make a little bit of money from it, etc., but I can't use it in daily life. If I want to go to the shop, I can't pay with crypto. So what do you think? There's a two-part question. Why do you think that businesses are not sort of having because the infrastructure is there to allow you to pay with crypto? And also, is there a way that you can actually pay with crypto in your daily life to buy stuff?
Look, that's all been solved. It's all there. But like I told you at the beginning of this conversation, you have to realize that crypto and Bitcoin are in a place still of tension between a world that does not want to be that does not want to be put aside by crypto, like outcompeted by crypto, and crypto itself, which offers all of these options. So what happened is that we had these capabilities were always available, even within Bitcoin, but we had a civil war within Bitcoin because the legacy power structures do not want that which you're asking for to be known, to be possible. So they fought tooth and nail against people having this option in the market. That's the truth. That's the honest truth. That's really what happened. And so they lied to people. They told them that they don't need to use Bitcoin as money, that Bitcoin is just a store of value, and that they're going to provide people with second layer options like the Lightning Network, which has been proven, and guys like me have told everyone that it was going to be an utter failure, and it has been an utter failure. So these people do not want Bitcoin to take over the world. They are there just to make sure that the legacy power structures stay intact. They see Bitcoin as nothing more than a settlement layer for central banks. And in their mind, Bitcoin is just a placeholder, an investment vehicle, and nothing else. There's nothing magical, nothing good, nothing real good about it. It's just something that really has no options. In the minds of these people and what they sold the vast majority of crypto is that Bitcoin is something that gives you very reduced options, almost no options, that you can do really nothing. Just store a value. Hold it. That's it. No,
So,
you can't use it in commerce
so it sounds
because
like
deep down they play for the other team. Deep down, and they've said it, that Bitcoin is, for them in their mind, and what they're trying to sell the world is that Bitcoin is a settlement layer for banks. There's guys like me though that have still fight to this day for the fullness of Bitcoin. And we know, we've had experience where we had Tiger Direct, Amazon, eBay, all of these where we could like buy things that cost just $1, 50 cents, transaction fees that were pennies. That's possible with Bitcoin at scale. But these people do not want you to experience the fullness of Bitcoin. So we are still in this place of tension where we have to show them on BTC that that Bitcoin can be used for other things. And so we're showing them by showing them that now, and now something people all agree on, that Bitcoin is Turing complete, that it is a computer, that Bitcoin does have the ability to do smart contracts on chain, that Bitcoin does have the ability to have DeFi, decentralized finance on chain, that Bitcoin does allow you to have an on-chain exchange, that Bitcoin itself, a DEX, a decentralized exchange in itself, that a marketplace, a native Bitcoin marketplace is possible on chain. All of these things we're proving to them. We're educating them on BTC. So we're educating the world. We're showing by doing, and we're teaching by doing, and making a lot of money in the process. And if you're a Crypto Vigilante subscriber, you can be along for the ride and make a lot of money while all of these people, the masses, learn what we already know. It's an inevitable conclusion to this story, that Bitcoin will be used in all commerce, that Bitcoin will be used as digital cash, that Bitcoin will be used as a supercomputer of a swarm intelligence, and that Bitcoin will scale on chain. It's inevitable. It's gonna happen. How long will it take it to happen? I don't know. In what way will it happen? I don't know. But right now, people are learning, and they can't unlearn what it's so obvious before their eyes.
this is very true. So it sounds like basically with every good movement there is infiltration. And
Oh yeah, of course, 100%. Especially with something as big and powerful as Bitcoin. You betcha.
so I
Of
guess
course.
how would we be able to get out the bad players? Is it just a situation that we just have to use it more that would force the bad apples out? Because if people are using it more by supply and demand theory, it means then that their belief system would start being used amongst the masses. Is that how we actually get it to really fight back against the infiltration?
Yeah, so the infiltration got to the level where BlackRock, literally BlackRock, came into Bitcoin and created an ETFs. So the people that wanted to limit Bitcoin to just being a digital lead. They call it digital gold, but digital lead does nothing but just like store a value. They got their highest achievement, which was that now BlackRock entered into the discussion. It's adopting Bitcoin BTC as something that they can easily manipulate. It's something that really doesn't affect their portfolio, their bottom line. It's something that is just, it's a tameable Bitcoin. It's something that they can tame, that they can manipulate. It's just something there. So what we're doing is that we're using the BTC blockchain as a space where we can create goods and services, capital goods and consumer goods on chain, that where we're showing people how it's actually more profitable to use Bitcoin in more ways than just it being a store of value. So the whole store of value narrative died. It doesn't exist anymore. Like it's only there because it had, now we know that rhetoric had the backing of Mark Zuckerberg, Sam Altman, Jack Dorsey, Larry Fink. We know the entities that were behind the usurpation of Bitcoin and turning it into this pet rock that was just thrown fiat into to give the illusion of success. But in reality, there was a malnourishment of the Bitcoin original design, where Bitcoin was stripped away from a lot of its faculties and capabilities. And now what we're doing is that with whatever faculties or capabilities are left within Bitcoin itself, BTC, we're educating people. We're showing people what's possible within Bitcoin. And people are making a ton of money, more money than anywhere else in crypto, by embracing the fullness of Bitcoin on chain. So it's happening. So how do you weed out the bad guys? How? Very simple. By following what's best for you.
Okay.
And what's best for you in this world? What's best for you is to have options. Anyone that wants to constrain your options is someone that wants to enslave you. The people that told you that Bitcoin was nothing more than digital lead, that Bitcoin was nothing more than store of value, they wanted to limit your options. The truth is that Bitcoin gives you many options, and people are discovering that there are many options readily available within the Bitcoin architecture itself on layer one that they can embrace and they can make money off of, to the point that right now your idea, your entrepreneurial idea, can be funded right away by creating a network. And the best example of that, in my opinion, is, well, there are two, but the best one is BAMP and the NUSD, the Nakamoto dollar. I did an interview with one of the founders of it here on the channel. I recommend you guys watch it so you guys learn what's happening, where he didn't need to seek out, they didn't need to seek out venture capital. Like the Bitcoin network itself, if it sees that what you're offering to the table on chain is valuable, they will readily fund your endeavor, your enterprise. So we're moving into a completely different world where venture capital is not even needed anymore. It's an option.
Really interesting. So you're saying if you have a business idea that adds value to society, you can approach...
Well, to Bitcoiners first and foremost, to Bitcoiners.
Okay, to Bitcoiners, right?
To Bitcoiners within Bitcoin.
Within Bitcoin, they will fund your operation to help you to grow. Wow.
With Bitcoin, and you don't need to leave Bitcoin. So let's say right now, Todd, you say, I'm going to start a DAO for health or wellness, or whatever your idea may be, a DAO, a decentralized autonomous organization. And I'm going to create a meme coin. And out of this meme coin, I'm going to just, you work out your tokenomics, whatever they may be, and you position them to the overall market. If the overall market accepts your idea in Bitcoin, they will support you, and they will become part of your community.
Wow, that's powerful.
Yeah. And you don't need venture capital. I've seen people now all of a sudden within a couple days have multi-million-dollar entities, if you want to call it, which are Bitcoin endeavors worth millions of dollars just by putting out an idea on chain. All you need is an idea, guys. Your ideas. Put them on the blockchain. If other Bitcoiners like your idea, they will use their Bitcoin to fund your idea. You don't need to ask permission to anyone. You just use the blockchain. And this is how powerful the original design of Bitcoin is, that even though they strip BTC away, a lot of opcodes and a lot of faculties away from BTC, that in BTC, we've been able to hack our way into BTC and provide people the options. Even though they're limited in some ways, we still found a way to give people options within BTC. And that is extremely valuable. That's extremely valuable.
It's true.
So you don't need BlackRock. You never needed BlackRock. You never needed to kiss ass to someone like Jack Dorsey. It was all in the blockchain. In the blockchain, you just went in, you create your value, and if people like it, they just run with it. It's that simple, guys.
Okay, so
It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
Say I had an idea tonight, and I had an idea that could benefit Bitcoiners and the network and stuff. How would they be able to get that idea out to people in the community? Because someone listening to this because we all have downloads of consciousness. So let's say someone listening to this podcast got this idea. Where do they go to put this idea forward to see if it would be compatible with Bitcoiners and the miners and stuff like?
You want to hear it? It's very beautiful.
Go on.
You put it on the blockchain where it can't be taken away.
How do you do that?
How do you describe it? You write it on the blockchain. And if other Bitcoiners see the idea as they're looking through the blockchain, like, wow, this idea is beautiful, then they'll say, okay, let's start it. And let's say your idea is, we're going to call it, what would be a cool name? What's the name of your podcast?
The Conscious Mind 7.
Okay. You create the meme coin, the Conscious Mind.
Conscious Man 7. The Conscious
Man 7.
Yeah.
Number 7.
Yes.
Bro, just create that DAO. Conscious Man 7 DAO. You create it, you put it on the blockchain. I'll buy some. I'll be part of your DAO. And then you shape the tokenomics however you want. And then the community now forms, a DAO forms that lives on the blockchain. And if it's something very valuable, it's going to go up in price, man.
So do I have to learn to do coding and all that kind of stuff to put it on the blockchain?
It's really simple. You just download a wallet, a Bitcoin wallet, and you inscribe it in. And you just pay the transaction fee. Yeah.
Okay.
Your ideas are monetizable now. This is why.
This is interesting.
Okay, look, man. You don't even want to get me started. We had a civil war over this, okay, in Bitcoin. And we won the civil war. It seems like we lost, but we're teaching. It seems like we lost because the other side are in bed with BlackRock, Zuckerberg. It seems like we lost. Guys like me, big blockers, it seems like we lost. We didn't lose. We're actually winning. We took over their blockchain. We took over BTC. And what are we doing? We're teaching everyone about all of the faculties within Bitcoin. Bitcoin was not meant just to be a place where you just a placeholder of value. That's sure it's an aspect, but that's just one aspect. Bitcoin's much bigger than that, man.
Okay,
Bitcoin's huge, man. Bitcoin's huge. Bitcoin, the capabilities in Bitcoin are just fucking ginormous, man.
Okay.
I just gave you a window into like boom, like, and now your mind is running with questions, asking me, Raf, how do I do this? Because Bitcoin is that wonderful, man. It is fucking amazing, dude. All right, so what's your question?
You got my mind here very working now. So, and say, okay, you're talking to a layman. What wallet do I need to download? And how specifically do I inscribe my idea in the blockchain? Because obviously you need a wallet to interact with the blockchain. So is there a particular wallet you need to download? And how do you do that? Because from memory, in all the wallets I've used, there's only the ability to send or to receive. So that means there have to be another option to, I don't know, inscribe, like to actually write something on the blockchain. So how do you actually do that? Because this is really interesting to me.
All right, it's very simple. Go to unisat.io. That's it. Unisat. Download a Unisat wallet, and in there you'll learn there's a portion where it says inscribe. You can inscribe it as runes, which I think they call it etching, which is writing on the blockchain. Inscribing, etching, it's all synonymous to writing. You're writing on the blockchain. Learn to write on the blockchain.
This is fantastic.
When you write on the blockchain, it will never be taken out. It's on the blockchain forever.
So, question.
Yes.
I write posts every single week on Instagram because, you know, I use Instagram for my business and stuff. So I could go and download this Unisat app and I could start writing. So the same post that I write on Instagram and Facebook, I could actually write on the blockchain like that.
Yes, on BTC
Wow.
you can do that. Now, the problem is, hold your horses. Remember, we had a civil war. They took a lot of faculties away from BTC.
Right.
So you're left with limited options. But there probably more. I'll have to research it for you, but there probably is a place where you can go do that on BTC to write it on the blockchain. They'll try to sell you, the people on the other side of this argument. They'll say, well, you can write it outside the blockchain. I'm like, no, I don't care for anything outside the blockchain. I want to own my data. I want it on chain. Okay. So if you want to go, okay, so here, check this out. You want to go on a spaceship with me and go into the future?
Yes.
Okay, check this out. One of the Bitcoin forks that actually the one that I like the most, the one that embraced everything Satoshi gave us is BSV, okay? They go to treechat.ai, treechat.ai.
Okay.
Treechat, like a tree, treechat.ai, and you'll get to experience a social network using the fullness of what Bitcoin could offer you on BTC. Now on BTC, you're limited and it's a lot more expensive. On BSV, you're paying 1/50,000th of a penny per transaction. On BTC,
Nothing.
you're paying between $5 and $20 per transaction.
Right.
You see the difference?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So within BTC, you can write on the blockchain, but it'll cost more. It'll cost like whatever the transaction fee
Got
is.
you.
Pay, I don't know what it is now, $20, $5.
This is so cool because you have my brain here thinking in the future, we're going to be able to upload things like this podcast actually on the blockchain and people will be able to interact, see the video and hear the audio on the blockchain. This is the kind of scalability that is possible and will eventually come because as more people start to use BTC, start to interact with the blockchain, start recommend it to their friends and family and teaching people, I think is actually inevitable.
It's already, we already know how to do that. That's what I'm saying. Like Todd, we had a civil war over all of this. To us, Bitcoin is a new internet. To us, Bitcoin is a supercomputer. To us, Bitcoin is a computer. To us, Bitcoin is on-chain exchange. To us, Bitcoin is a marketplace. Bitcoin is really like a brain that is waking up, a swarm intelligence that is waking up. That's what it is to us. What they sold the world was that Bitcoin was nothing more than store of value. And then you had all of these entities like BlackRock and whatever piece of shit lizards. They came in and what they did is just pumped it with fiat and gave the world the impression that this is the ultimate form of Bitcoin and that Bitcoin and that Bitcoin's nothing. They just gave you the illusion of success, but it's all contingent on exterior factors. The real goal, the real beauty of Bitcoin is found within itself, and it's largely undiscovered. That's the truth, and that's kind of like a sad story to tell of Bitcoin, but it's a true story to tell about Bitcoin that not a lot of people know about. So what we did is that we hacked our way into Bitcoin. Guys like me, we hacked our way into BTC to show within BTC what is possible. And that's why we have ordinals, atomicals, runes, to show the world what is possible, show people options, show people what they told you was never possible on Bitcoin. We now show you what we've always known to be possible. There are smart contracts are possible, DeFi is possible, on-chain marketplaces are possible. To have what you just said, all the examples, social media on BTC as possible. It was always possible, but these central planners came in and they lied. They told us that it wasn't possible or that it wasn't good for the network. But right now, where we stand is that it doesn't matter what they do or they don't do, or what they think or they don't think. The market gets to decide what's good for the network, and they can't get rid of us from the BTC network. And so that's really where we're going, and that's where we're at. And they can't stop it. No one can stop it. And so it's grassroots. All of these innovations are grassroots, and they're just going to keep growing. And I'm just really happy to be part of it, to be completely honest. Very happy to see this happen, and we'll see where it takes us. You know, I'm happy with any possible future. I just want humanity to know that this option exists, that these options exist. That's really what I want in their minds, everyone's mind. If anything that you take from this conversation today, just know that we live in a world with options, and that people that want to enslave you or they want to use you will want to take options away from you. That's their bottom line. Just like an abusive relationship wants to take away all of your emotional supports from your previous life before meeting you, right? They'll want to separate you from your family, from your friends, from your loved ones. In the same way, Satoshi gave us Bitcoin with all of these abilities, but then they told us, no. Bitcoin, you don't need us. You don't need to do smart contracts on Bitcoin. Here, we'll give you an Ethereum. Oh, you don't need DeFi on Bitcoin. We'll give you this. You don't need to do social media on Bitcoin. We'll do this. It's Bitcoin is just nothing more than a store of value. That's it. That's it. Limit your options. Oh, you want to do something like that? Go elsewhere. You're not welcome here.
Yeah, this is definitely a shift in consciousness, even for me, because
I
knew these things, but the level of detail that you're talking about, like I always say, well, you need to work on your mind, body, and spirit. But now I'm gonna have to add money, mind, body, spirit, and money, because when you look at crypto, it actually connects into the shift of consciousness, because
100%.
Mind is changing your mindset. The body is getting into shape and improving your nutrition. The spirit is realizing your connection to source, and the money now through crypto means then that you have total freedom, where you can transact with who you want, when you want, and with zero interference from the state. So I might actually have to change my moniker now to mind, body, spirit, and money after this conversation, because it is definitely a shift in consciousness. And even for me, I knew the potential, but I didn't really think too deeply in it, to the spiritual aspect with it.
Yeah, so money has always been something that was kind of like seen as something outside of us. Yeah. Because money really, but the truth is that the origin of money, where money comes from within us.
Energy.
But the people that want control or power over us, they want to give you the illusion that money is something outside of you, that is separated from you, divorced from you. Why do they do that? So that they can control you. And that's why they give you shit money that they control, the fiat, right?
True.
Shit money so that they can control you. And it's not real money, really. It's a liquid good, but it's a manipulative one. It's not really one that nourishes you. It's not one that money gives you adequate information of your environment. If you want to get on a spiritual level, you have to be so money, a true good source, a good money gives you accurate information of everything and everyone around you. Prices, right? Prices is a system of information. Things the way things are priced. Yes. If you are connected within an ambiance, an atmosphere of correct information, where people are not lying to each other, the way Bitcoin was designed as a truth machine, as an honesty machine, then you're connected to source, which is really, you're connected to the energy of other people, the inputs and outputs into the network, both in capital goods and consumer goods at the same time. And you're getting an accurate read of what's happening in real time, verified by everyone on the planet, all the miners at the same time, through proof of work. So it is a very spiritual system. And then when you add another component into it, something that we didn't have before the internet, which is that the internet in itself is also giving you a fake internet. We live in a fake internet. We're not really connected peer to peer in the internet. There's always an intermediary.
Yes.
There's always someone in the middle. We never needed these people in the middle. It's just that when the internet was developed, we had giant server farms in the 1980s, 70s. And so naturally, no one, when in the creation of the computer, there was not really, as far as we know, from the commercial perspective, who knows what the government was thinking, but from the commercial perspective, we never really knew that these computers would be connected in a thing called the internet. So whether intentionally or not, the weight of a corporation came along as an intermediary between nodes of the network. But in reality, I do not need IBM anymore. I have in my computer all the power and all the energy that I need, all the computer power that I need to be connected with you peer to peer.
Interesting.
I don't need to go through these ISPs or anything like that. We can be connected peer to peer now. We can do away with all of them now. So what Bitcoin does is that it's a way for us to also be connected in more than just money. It allows us to connect in just data. Because I remember I said money is data, is information flow, right? Okay, what are we doing right now? We're sharing information, right?
Yes.
We're sending signals to each other.
Yes.
This is a type of money, actually.
Yes. Yes.
It's energy. We're sharing energy. It's
energy.
a type of currency. This
Yes.
is a type of currency. This is a currency. I'm sharing with you knowledge. You're sharing with me knowledge. We're going back and forth.
Yeah.
This is a money. It's not money in the proper sense in that it's the most liquid good, but in this interaction itself, you can say it's an NFT. It's a non-fungible token of sorts.
Yeah.
This conversation itself was a non-fungible token of sorts, and it carries an energy and a value in the market. So this conversation here can be monetized. We can sell this as an NFT in the future. And the market can say, well, there's 100 copies of this NFT. If you want to listen to this conversation, you have to own access to this NFT. And owning the NFT costs this much. And there's only 100 tokens to watch this episode. We can do that. If you really want to watch this episode, you're going to have to pay the price. We can do these things. This is what Bitcoin allows you, because now no longer do we need to go through an intermediary, but we just trust. We don't even trust. It's all we trust the mathematics. We just use the mathematics. We don't trust. We use the mathematics of Bitcoin. We use proof of work to share information with each other on chain. But the powers that shouldn't be, and the powers that are really not, they have tried to keep this knowledge away from people. The real knowledge of Bitcoin. If you really want to get into like the esoteric nature of Bitcoin, not esoteric. No, I don't even like that word. It's the truth about Bitcoin and what Bitcoin's really about. Do some research, man. Do some research. I'm telling you, Bitcoin is not as BlackRock defines it, or what they would tell you that the bottom line of Bitcoin is. I don't trust those guys. I don't know if you guys do, but the Bitcoin BlackRock invests in is not the Bitcoin that it's not the reason. It's not the Bitcoin I'm here for. I'll tell you that.
This is very, very spiritual, and it really, when you think about it well, it solves a lot of problems that we have today. Because you mentioned social media, so let's say that there's a layer built on top of Bitcoin for social media. It would be completely uncensorable, because with the blockchain, there's no censorship, right? So the thing is with social media, and I know this for a fact because I've uploaded podcasts to YouTube before and got a strike and got it deleted because I used certain words. So I would be able to use all the words that I want to use to express myself. So I have total freedom to express myself in the way I want and not have to worry about censorship. Then you add the component of transacting value. Then you can actually go and pitch ideas to actually create a business. Then you can actually use it as a storage for content, like podcasts and videos and stuff like that.
I mean, it's whatever.
Crazy,
Yes,
man.
it's possible.
Levels.
It's possible. Now, is that the best use of space?
Maybe
I don't know.
not.
Maybe storing content in another way is cheaper, and it's for the market to decide. But
The
is the option
options.
there? Can you do it? Yes, you could do it. You
I,
could
I,
do it.
the option to do, I think, is much more powerful than people think, because
Mhm.
having options allows you to have an abundance mindset. It allows you
Exactly.
to make very important choices in life because you have the option. And I think that what has happened to our consciousness is that we have what one of my mentors calls lack of and poverty consciousness. And that a lot comes from the lack of options that we think we have. But when you include crypto into the conversation, Bitcoin, crypto in general, you end up having more options. So you can actually have more creativity. And
Exactly.
creativity is basically what causes our society and our civilization to thrive and to improve and to make breakthroughs in science, technology, arts, whatever. It is that creativity which basically is all based in a system and mindset of love, which is as spiritual as you can get. So I mean,
That's right.
this has been very, even for me, very enlightening, which is one of the real cool things I really enjoy with doing these podcasts. So before I let you get out of here, question. If I wanted to spend Bitcoin today, because this is one of the questions that people say to me all the time, but Todd, Bitcoin, crypto in general is great, but I can't spend it in the real world. Are there any ways or solutions or apps or platforms that I can have crypto and I can spend crypto in the moment at a shop or any business?
Yes. Yeah. It exists. It exists. It's just, Todd. The thing is that we had these solutions already done. Everything was already done, ready to go. But because we had a civil war in Bitcoin, we were set back in that aspect of Bitcoin. So now what we have to do is be very smart. And we were like, okay, well, if if they put so much barriers between scalable Bitcoin, because if you don't have a scalable Bitcoin, if Bitcoin itself doesn't scale, then and they tell you go elsewhere, well, then the world naturally created an altcoin market. It naturally happened. And so now you had many cryptocurrencies, not just one. But there are options out there for point of sale systems, but there is not one universal unit of account for crypto like we had in the early days of Bitcoin. So as of this moment right now, I can't tell you off the top of my head what the universal platform is, and it's a shame. No fault of my own, but there is no universal platform out there that people are using for Bitcoin or for crypto transactions, because first and foremost, there is not one universal cryptocurrency that is useful for that at this moment. There are many. And the one that has the most market cap that was pumped by fiat, by BlackRock and Zuckerberg and them, that one was BTC. But they stripped away the capability within BTC of being digital cash.
Right.
You
Okay.
see? You see what I mean? So that's why we fight the good fight to bring that back into Bitcoin proper. And although other blockchains show us and they prove to us that it's possible to have this within Bitcoin, there is still people within Bitcoin that do not want the fullness of Bitcoin to be embraced. So yeah, unfortunately, I don't have an answer for you as to like of a complete a network that allows you to do all that. I think there is for Monero, there is, if you're a privacy enthusiast, there is for Monero a if I can find it real quick. Um
Okay. Well,
yeah,
speak a little bit.
I'll have to find it for you, but there is I forget the name, but for the Monero community there is a way to make to purchase things online. But that's
Right.
because the transaction fees within Monero allow you to do that.
Yeah, they're quite low, to be honest.
Yeah. Whereas in BTC, like, you're paying, you don't know what you're going to be paying
Yeah,
the
you
next
don't
day.
know what you're paying.
So
Because
it's yeah, so it's a different we have to deal with the different dynamics. So when you buy something in BTC, or when you sell something on BTC on chain, change your mindset. Think of what you're selling or buying as something, as a luxury item within BTC, and there has to be a good reason to sell it to the world.
okay, fair enough.
Okay.
Because this is one of the stumbling, I can't say stumbling blocks, but some people have said to me that one of the reasons why they're not not against Bitcoin, but they are less favorable to Bitcoin and crypto in general is because there is no way that they can have crypto on their phone and they can go and scan a QR code in a business and just pay for stuff like you do with Apple Pay, Samsung Pay, Google Pay, all the Alipays, all the pays that there are, right? So
Yeah.
what I say to people is like, okay, well, at the moment, and you tell me if this is how you see it as well. What you would have to do is when you want to take profits in your crypto, you just convert it into fiat, and then you have it on your banking apps. And then when you're ready to go and pay, you got all your different types of pay, Samsung Pay, Google Pay, Apple Pay, etc. You just scan and pay. That's the what I tell people now, because at the moment, because like you're saying, there's this it's really much a war on consciousness in terms of consciousness of money, that they're trying to stifle us from having this type of freedom. So they're forcing us really to come back into the system to spend the fiat, when most of us would be quite happy to just spend Monero or Pirate Chain or Bitcoin or Ethereum or Litecoin or whatever currency you favor to at point of sale, or even online on the internet where you can just do it, right? So am I correct where that's the only way to do it now? You just sell, get into fiat, and then use your normal banking system apps and cards to pay for stuff. Is that correct?
Pretty much. I mean, and that is a sad state of affairs to be in within crypto, but that's the honest truth. And that was like, they accomplished to take away the cash aspect of Bitcoin and strip Bitcoin away from its ability of doing microtransactions, really hurt the entire crypto space. But these people, again, we now realize who they were really working for. It's obvious. They were working for BlackRock, they were working for JP Morgan. Ethereum is a JP Morgan creation.
Wow.
If you didn't know that, yeah, dude, it's so we now understand really where all of this came from. But we never needed an Ethereum. Everything we ever wanted in crypto really could have been done on Bitcoin, except maybe privacy coins. If you really need privacy, if you really, really want privacy, privacy coins probably can't be done to that same level in Bitcoin. But yeah, so we've learned that, and it's kind of it shouldn't be shocking, because for technology that's so powerful and that really upsets the status quo, you shouldn't expect it to be embraced by the powers that shouldn't be automatically. They should push back, right? And that's what we've seen. They push back pretty hard. They have people confused, thinking that this crippled version of Bitcoin is the ultimate form of Bitcoin. They gave people the ultimate desire for trading their Bitcoin for fiat at the highest level by dumping Bitcoin onto Main Street via the ETFs. But guys, the good news is that good people are out there that want to preserve the fullness of Bitcoin. And since they have been, fought against so harshly, these people have been smart enough to go back to BTC and enable options for you guys on BTC, to show you guys within BTC how things are possible within Bitcoin, where Bitcoin is not just digital gold. Bitcoin's not just a store of value, but that Bitcoin allows you to have smart contracts, that Bitcoin, the protocol allows you to have DeFi, that Bitcoin allows you to do even microtransactions on chain. yeah, that Bitcoin is Turing complete, that you can compute things on chain. So there's people working on the fullness of Bitcoin still, and that should give us all a lot of hope because they're doing it in a very intelligent way where they can't be shut down. It's happening on BTC itself, and so overall, I'm very happy for everything that's happening in the space. And if I were to take a more stoic stance, it's like, well, yeah, of course of course these people were going to, um, you know, react against Bitcoin the way that they did. Of course they're going to fight back. Of course they're going to try to psyop Bitcoin. Of course they wanted they would only accept a Bitcoin that was manipulatable, manageable, something that they can control. And so that's what they did. That's what they did. And it's okay. Fair game. But people want options.
Yeah,
And
I
people are
think that's the most
discovering that
important.
people are discovering that they were lied to in Bitcoin. A lot of
Yeah,
people won't say it out loud, but I'm one of the guys that will say it out loud that people were lied to. People were flat out lied to. They were told that Bitcoin cannot scale on chain, and that was a lie. Bitcoin does scale on chain, and that's why all of the entrepreneurs in BTC right now are clamoring. They want the opcodes like opcats to be enabled. You have
okay.
other entrepreneurs like Paul Storks that want to increase the block size at the very least for miners so that miners can give people options, if not on the blockchain, on side chains, which is really not necessary, but it's an option.
Right,
Paul
right.
Storks, BIP 300, BIP 301 wants to give people options because we want freedom, we want options, but there are people out there that don't want you to give you freedom. They want to take all of your options away. Bitcoin gave you many options, and there's people out there that that are okay with depriving you of your options. I'm one of those guys that say, I'm sorry, but I'm gonna fight for my options. I'm gonna fight for my freedom, and Bitcoin's worth fighting for.
Yeah, I totally agree. And for people that are freedom-minded people, people that are against the system, people who are sick and fed up of the lies that our governments and states have told us, which have become extremely clear from this pandemic. Um, you know, go and check out Rafa, go and join the crypto vigilante, listen to podcasts like this and support people out there that are fighting for a better humanity and a better world, because knowledge is power, and it is what we do with that knowledge that allows us to change the world. So Rafa, quickly tell the people where they can find you if they want to reach out to you. Can they? Where that would be? If they wanted to get you to help them personally, is that possible? All that good stuff. Let the people know about.
Yeah, so if you want to have contact with me directly, you have to be a VIC member. That's the Vigilante Insiders Club. That's our VIP club. Go to cryptovigilante.io and you'll see the link to the VIP. Sign up for the VIC. If you just want to read what I write to our private members on a monthly basis, if you want to be part of our calls, if you want to be part of our social media groups that are private where I give information as it happens and I give alphas about crypto and Bitcoin and everything that is happening on chain. You know, I was the guy that gave you guys already Bitmap, shameless plug, Bank, all of these on-chain assets. Atomicals were announced through us, Adam, Track, all of these on-chain assets are happening, and we're at the forefront of that. So if you want to be part of that, if you want to get the alpha, if you want to trust whatever groups are out there for free on the internet, by all means do that. But if you want to be part of a place where we're held accountable to one another and it's private, you know where to find us, cryptovigilante.io.
Awesome, Rafa. And for those out there listening to this content, some more awesome podcasts coming. You can find me at Adriano_246 or Facebook, Todd Cave. And if you're ready to get into some awesome shape, because summer is here, you want to improve your mindset, you want to improve your physique, and you want to learn some cool skills that I do, like the calisthenic stuff. Again, hit me up on my socials. All the links will be below in the description of this podcast. And Rafa, I just want to say many thanks for coming on to the Conscious Man 7. I had the pleasure of sharing a stage with you last year at the Anarchapulco 2023, and we also had a chat afterwards there as well. So, I was really excited to have a chat with you today because I have a lot of respect for you. You're a juggernaut in the game. You're very knowledgeable. And yes, man, I'm happy to have you to come back to talk about the spiritual aspect of crypto and stuff, because we're all about spirituality and consciousness here on this platform. So, folks, I just want to say thank you for listening to this podcast. All the links will be below. And if you can, Rafa, send me the links to those things that you recommended, the apps, how to, if you wanted to inscribe on the blockchain, all of those things. So the interested people can do, because we're all about sharing our knowledge and information here, because the more the community grows, the better the world can become, and we can have a prosperous future for our kids and grandchildren, because, we have to set the example. No one's coming to save us. We have to save ourselves, but we teach other people to save themselves, which is what we're on about here. So we're mind, body, spirit, and money. This is who we are and what we are. Many thanks, Rafa, for coming on to the Conscious Man 7 podcast. Thank you all listeners for tuning in. More great podcasts coming. I'll see you on the next one. I also have some good news for you. We now have a merch store on Amazon with the brand Todd and Me. You can find some really cool designs there. We have some shirts, tank tops, hoodies, and long sleeves. So if you want to grab yourself some the Todd and Me merch or some cool designs, link will be in the description of this podcast. And if you get any of the shirts, please send a picture to me, and we will post it on our socials to show that you are a member of the Todd and Me crew. I also started to work with a company that produces magic mushrooms. So for any of those who are interested in a spiritual journey or trying to unlock the secrets to themselves inside of them, looking to heal some fears and traumas, or also trying to find themselves, hit me up on my Instagram at Adriano_246 or my name Todd Cave on Facebook. Send me a DM and let me know you would like to get some magic mushrooms. And me personally, I have had loads of healing from mushrooms, and this is one of the reasons why I'm very, very happy to be associated with this company. So hit me up at Adriano_246 or Todd Cave on Facebook, and let's see if I can help.